Hey, what's up guys, TheJordude's here, back again with another Shadowverse video. This video is sponsored by Cygames. If you want to play and download Shadowverse for free, you could do so on any of your mobile devices or on your PC, with the link down below in the description. Also, if you want to sign up for tournaments, start getting competitive, go check out the NGE link, and you can sign up for the Starforge Legends season. And then if you do well in that, you could qualify for the invite season tournaments. And if you do well in that, if you top 3 that, you could play in the World Grand Prix in Japan in December with the 120k prize pool. Very exciting stuff, so make sure you go check out the links down below. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about fine-tuning your tournament decks. As you already know, NGE has already started the Starforge Legends season. And so a lot of players are practicing a lot, making sure their deck lists are as fine-tuned as they could get and as best as possible in tournaments. So in tournament decks, they are a little bit different than ladder decks. Like ladder decks, you just try to build them to be the best across the field, as generic as possible. But in tournaments, it's actually a bit different. Your situation's different. So first of all, I assume that you looked at the tournament format. You've seen if there's an open or closed deck list. Open deck list means you could look at your opponent's decks before the match and see exactly what they're playing. Closed deck list means you're going in blind. And you can also see if there's going to be a ban or not. So of course you put that into your strategy when you're building your lineup, as I mentioned in my previous videos. I'm going to go over the lineup that I played for the first week of NGE and kind of use them as an example of how I built my decks, and I explain how I tech my decks for certain matchups, and hopefully you could use that to the broad perspective, so you could apply to any of your decks what you want to think about when fine-tuning your builds. So in the first week, I kind of went for the N1 strategy. So I brought meta decks, I brought Dragon, I brought Sword, PDK Dragon, and Aggro Sword. And for my third deck, I picked OTK Roach. Strong deck at the moment in the format, as well as a comfort pick. So N1 strategy, I have a really well-rounded type of deck. So I have combo, I have aggro, and I have like ramp. That's not really a type of deck, but Dragon's special, I guess. And then my target strategy, my ban strategy, was actually to ban Aggro Sword, because I collected all my data playing a lot of games like a week or two weeks ahead, and I found that Sword was actually my most 50-50 matchup, so I want to ban it. It's hard to deal with when they have the nut curve. And then I had a soft target strategy against Dragon. All my decks were about 70% plus against PDK Dragon, Keeper Dragon. So I felt really good playing against Dragons. And I know that a lot of people will bring Dragon because it's the best deck at the moment. All these decks I'm talking about are present to this video's recording. So yeah, Keeper Dragon, the best deck for the tournament at the moment. So I felt pretty good that my lineup was like 70% against it. So let's go into like each list, and I'll talk about how I tech each deck and how they're slightly different than ladder. So in my fourth deck, basically, as you can see, I'm running 2 Lilacs, which is not common in a ladder OTK Roach, but it's really good because I'm banning Sword, so it's not like it's wasting the clash against like 1/1s, 2/1s. Because I'm targeting more Dragons, and Lord Atomy is also a really good deck at the moment for tournaments. So Lilac helps me deal with big threats like that. Also, when I play it on a turn before, in anticipation of a big threat, then it's really hard for the opponent to develop that, and makes it really awkward for them. So I had that in. Also running Double Dance of Death to deal with big stuff. I'm not running the Will of the Forest, as you can see, because I know that without Sword you don't really need Will of the Forest, especially because I have 2 Cassiopeia, and I'm only running 2 because, again, I'm trying to deal with bigger stuff. So that's why I'm running Aaron's. Aaron helps me deal with bigger stuff, helps me get through to the next turn, and it's got Ward, so it can soak up damage. So that's how I tech my Forest deck. So it's not as good against like aggro, but since I'm banning the most aggressive deck, aggro Sword, I felt really good playing against mid-range and slower stuff. And again, it's like got good win rates against Dragon, decent against Atomy Shadow, good against D-Shift, etc. And For Sword, I actually didn't tech this. So I know I'm saying that you want to fine tune your decks. It wants to be a bit different than Ladder, because you want to be you're more of a narrow perspective in tournaments because you got banned. But for Sword, I find that if you remove a card in such an optimized list and try to tech something in, it could actually give you a negative impact on your percentages. So I decided for Sword that it was fine-tuned enough that it's good against anything. It's good against most matchups without teching anything, as long as you get a good curve. I don't want to mess up with the curve. But the considerations I had were adding in like a Momo or like a Fangblade, just like those Banes to deal with like Atomies or Dragons. But I found that the percentage was good enough against those matchups that I didn't need to change anything in this list. So this is a case where I didn't have to fine-tune anything because it's already tuned enough. And in the case for my PDK Dragon, because I am knew that I'm banning Aggro Sword, I didn't have to add in as much early game. I only have 2 Matildas, I have no Fire Lizards naturally in the deck, only 2 Blazing Breath. Instead, I teched it more to give me a favorable mirror match. So I have triple Bahamut. Bahamuts are really good in the Dragon Mirror. Zeus instead of Genesis Dragon. Zeus does a lot against Genesis because it kills Genesis Dragon, it stops Fortes, so that's in the mirror match, but it's also really good against like OTK Roach, Atomy Shadow. So I found that Zeus was a much better pick especially in a tournament setting, mainly because of the Bane and the Ward. Not so much the Storm. The Storm is of course really nice, but because it has a Bane and Ward, a huge body, it's super hard for the matchups that I expect to play against to deal with. And then I have a single Erd, and this actually helped me win a lot of matchups against Dragons when I was playtesting. So I found that Erd is a really good tech choice in this kind of tournament tuned Keeper Dragon list. So yeah, that's how I decided to tune my decks. So as you can see, I had my ban strategy in place already before the tournament, before I started fine-tuning my decks, which was Aggro Sword. And then since I expect the field to be decks because I expect the tournament to play mainly meta decks, which is most of the time, so you expect to see a lot of Keeper Dragons, you expect to see Atomy Shadow, which is also doing well, mid-range Shadow, you can see maybe sometimes Control Blood, you can see D-Shift. So you have to think about all those decks, and then you kind of weigh which ones you want to try to beat the most, which one's most likely to appear. And in my case, I thought that Keeper Dragon and Atomy Shadow were probably the next 2 top decks that I would see the most, and then followed by maybe like a D-Shift, which happened to be the case. So in the first week I played against a lot of Dragons, I played against Atomy Shadows, and then some rogue decks because I dropped out like pretty early in the tournament. So like some N4 decks. So that's how I usually go through fine-tuning my builds. Basically set up your ban strategy and then try to anticipate what the meta is going to be and how you want to build your decks to try to beat those. What cards are good against certain decks, what gives you the extra percentages, because even like a couple of percentages, if you change your list, if it's giving you a positive win rate plus more percentage by adding in text, then definitely worth including and testing out at the very least. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you have any questions, make sure you comment down below. If you enjoyed, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and check me out in the social media links down below in the description. I also have it in the box over there. And thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.